later.
Are you able to see where people are from? Logging from? Hi, Kristen. Kristen?
Hi, Lorato. Yes.
Oh.
I usually ask everybody just to say, you thought I had vanished, right? I usually ask people to say where they are.
Yeah.
So we'll do that.
Oh, so you're not able to see on the...
No, they have to tell
they're
me.
viewing from. Where's your most popular demand from?
Interestingly, it's from everywhere, but you find that the host countries, or let me just say the country speakers, the speaker countries, are often well represented.
Yeah.
So today I see, well, just from the names, I see quite a few people from Uganda and Botswana.
Yeah.
Then a couple from Namibia as well. This is just me reading names. I think we should get started. Ladies, what do you think?
Yeah, we can get started.
All right then. Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Hi,
thank you for coming so early, bright and early.
Good morning.
How are you ladies doing?
Good, thanks. And you?
Good. Thank you, everyone, our attendees. Thank you so much for joining us. Please just send us a message in the chat to tell us where you are viewing us from. I see Ian is from Kampala, Hao is from Botswana, Elizabeth from Namibia. Please just let us know where you are tuning in from. My name is Christine Rita Abankwa. I'm the founder of Secure the Bag Africa Pan-African Accelerators, which is a high-performance coaching platform. So we bring together speakers, coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs from all over Africa so that we can network and share our services and ideas and contribute to the African body of knowledge. Today, we're going to be talking about COVID-19 and your personal finances. We have received so many warnings from everyone about how life is going to change. It's no longer business as usual. People are facing salary cuts. People are facing job losses. What does this mean for you and your money? Today, I'm joined by Lorato Akpata. She is from Botswana. She's a personal finance specialist and also the founder of Suero Consulting. I'm also joined by Diana Bagarukayo. Diana, you're going to have to help me pronounce your name properly. I don't like mispronouncing people's names, but she is from Uganda. She's an economist, she's an author, and she's also a finance specialist. So we're going to start off. Diana, please pronounce your name well for all of us.
Thank you. Good morning, Christine. My name is Diana Bagarukayo from Uganda.
Bagarukayo, got it. So we're going to start off with a presentation from Lorato. Just a few housekeeping rules. If you have any questions, you can just scroll to the bottom of your screen and you see the Q&A option if you want to queue up a question for later on, and you also see the chat. And Dora B from Uganda, thank you for joining us. And Mary Anyango as well. From Kampala, Claire Mukasa, Colin B, Sarah Katusabe. Okay, I see everybody. Thank you for joining us and keep those locations coming in. So we're gonna hand over to Lorato. Take it away.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited to do this for you today. I am Lorato Akpata. I am from Botswana. I am a personal finance specialist. I run a company that does personal finance training as well as coaching for individuals. We also do business development for small businesses. Basically, I just help everyone to be profitable, both businesses and individuals. just look at it that way. That's basically what I do. I'm an accountant by profession. That's what I've been trained to do. So personal finance is also very close to my heart, because I've been raised in a very strict personal finance environment. So I decided to take this route as well to try and inform as many people on how easy it is to get your personal finances right. All right. So I'm going to take it away right away, and actually share on the screen. I'm going to put my presentation so that you can actually see what I'm going to be presenting on today. Okay. Okay, so this is my company, Suero Consulting. I'll just introduce myself again. This is me. I used to have dreadlocks, by the way. These are the nice pictures I had when I used to have dreadlocks. I am passionate about helping people. As I've said my name already, I'm also a wife and a mother of two. My personality, I'll tell you that I love laughing a lot, and I love my coffee, and I have it right here with me as well. So I love my tea. Yeah, so like I've mentioned already, what do we do at Suero? I'll just recap that again. We do group trainings and one-on-one financial coaching. We also do virtual training and coaching available on Zoom, available via Zoom and Skype. We also help our clients. Basically, we help our clients by customizing our coaching to specific clients' goals. We just don't come with a template. So we make sure that we understand what your life is and what you're about so that we can custom make. So for trainings as well, we normally do pre-assessments on the organizations that we're dealing with. Particularly on the trainings, we'll train employees of organizations, for instance. Then we have to do a pre-assessment and actually understand what the issue is with the employees for that particular company. So we can't just come with a ready-made template and just think this is what the problem is. It has to be custom made for our clients. All right. So even for the one-on-one coaching, we have to figure out and find out who you are as a person, as Lorato, who are you and what are your goals and aspirations, so that we can help you and customize your personal finances according to who you are and your values. Okay. I also mentioned we do business development consulting for SMEs. Basically, what this means is SMEs by installing efficient business processes and systems. This includes business strategy, marketing strategy, internal controls, as well as an accounting and tax advisory. So that's how we ensure that our businesses, whoever is under us, become profitable in the long run, because it's not a short-term process, it's actually a long-run process. But today we'll be focusing on personal finance for individuals and as well as training. All right. So in the Suero consulting world, we support you. We help you achieve your life and business goals as well through personal finance and business development for you to have a profitable life and business. Yeah, that's how we do it at Suero. So today we're going to be focusing on personal finance, as I have mentioned, budgeting right during COVID-19, so that I can help you and see how we can do this and how we can manage our personal finances during a time like this, especially if incomes are affected. And if they're not affected, how can we manage our personal finance? So the very first thing that I always say, it's important to always look at your goals. All right. But this time, because we are, where are we now? In May. Let's say maybe you've already done your goals in January for the year and you are sorted out. March, everything is interrupted literally in the world, and everything just comes to a pause. Now your goals of traveling are probably affected, your goals of doing that, seeking more business or working harder or whatever, it's now everything is just affected for you to even make that extra income that you wanted to do. Now, what do we need to do now? We need to probably re-look at the goals, okay? We probably now need to realign. Nothing has to stop. We just probably have to move it forward as compared to now. Possibly if there was something that you needed to achieve by June, it might not be as doable because now everything has paused, right? So probably move it a bit forward so that you can be able to plan properly and just say, you know what, I'm still going to achieve this, let me just move it a bit forward. Yeah. Possibly some goals might need to change, because this has been a time where we've been forced to actually close ourselves in. So we should have reflected, there's a time for us to reflect, to actually rethink our goals, rethink our lives, and see, maybe we've been just overdoing things, overworking, or we just not been getting the balance right in terms of getting our lives right and aligned. So this was a really good thing. I feel like this was also a really good thing to get us closed up and just take time out so that we reassess ourselves. So what I would suggest is now rewrite your goals again, relook at them, and then journal them. All right. Remember that business idea that you've always had? I know almost everyone always has that business idea that they're pushing forward, that they're always going to start, or you were about to start it and you haven't started it yet. Write it down. Write it down as one of your goals as well on that business idea, because it's going to help us. We will talk about it later, about the diversification of income, or even creating an income for yourself if income has totally stopped or you've lost your employment. All right. And then another thing that I will also advise is that try and adapt good daily habits. This one, guys, will never go out of fashion. This is the only way we will achieve anything in life, is that it's all in our habits. The books I read, they say exactly the same thing. All self books, it's so interesting. They say the same thing in a different way. It always boils down to your habits. So this is a fact. This is not some idea that people are just trying to motivate you. It is true. It is in your habits. How are your habits looking? If your life is not doing well, or you're not doing well in your life, look at your habits. Have you adapted good habits? What are the good habits? Are you waking up early to actually possibly exercise so that you feel healthy and good? Are you actually setting up every day to make sure that you're doing something productive every single day? Are you setting your goals for the day to ensure that you are actually ticking off what you have done? Basically teaching yourself to be a doer instead of a procrastinator, right? So that you write the goals and actually do them, right? Those are the kind of habits that you need to start adapting. Are you watching more TV versus being reading? You need to be reading some books that will help you in your life as well. I always say it's good to read, but what are you reading? Is what you are reading actually helping you in any way? So, as much as you need to be a reader, watch what you are reading as well. What are you watching? Are you always on social media versus you actually being productive with something that could help you possibly do an online course, possibly make some research, make that proposal that you need to be working on? What are you doing? What are your habits looking like? And that is exactly what will reflect in your life. So learn to be a doer in every area of your life. This also includes your exercise program. This includes your productivity levels and your goal setting, and actually doing the goals as well. Yeah. So it's as simple as that. I mean, you remember our parents when they used to just wake us up early. My mom used to wake me up early all the time, guys. And I used to hate it. But she used to just say, there's no work. If you're gonna wake up late, you're just gonna the day is gonna pass you. And these are things that are all in the self-help books. How our parents used to actually make us wake up early and actually be productive. So it seems like it never goes out of fashion. So let's relook at our goals. Let's relook at our habits and possibly start adapting good habits, good rest, exercise program, as well as possibly being productive and reading as well, right? Less TV, less social media. Okay. That's what I would like us to look at. Relook at the goals and look at what you're doing with your life. And then from then on, that we've really looked at our goals and everything, we are going to now adjust our personal budget. If you've not been having a budget, I will recommend that you start making a budget from now on. Okay. For as long as you have money coming in, it doesn't matter how it's coming in, even if it's been borrowed, that should have a budget on it. Even if the money is coming through your salary or it's coming however way that it's coming in, there should be a budget for that money. What is a budget? If I were to explain, your budget is basically your income, which is, for example, your salary versus your expenses. Your expenses could be paying your utilities, paying your your petrol, anything that you're paying for, groceries, that's basically a budget. But this time you need to be drawing it up. That's just what you need to be doing. All right. So how do we draw up a budget? Basically, it's actually going to be your income versus your expenses. Now, if you've lost in this instance, in this situation that we're in right now, it's either you're going to have lost your income, or your income has been reduced, or it has remained the same. All right. So on the budget, you're going to just put what you have there, that what's coming in there. Whether that's nothing is coming in, don't put anything if there's nothing coming in, right? And then if there is something coming in, put exactly what is coming in. If the income that is still remain the same, put it there as well as your income at the top. And then enter your expenses exactly the way that they have been. All right. Now, when you're looking at your budget, looking at it after you've written it down or you've entered it, reflect on it. Does it reflect what you've written your goals? Does it reflect where you want to go? Does your income look like this is what you should be getting for a person who wants this type of life, right? Do the way that you spend your money, does it actually reflect the kind of life you want? That's basically why I recommend at first enter exactly how you are spending your money, exactly how you are receiving your income right now, and then reflect and say, this is reflecting who I am and who I want to be. Okay. And then now, how does a personal budget look like? This is just a simple one that I have downloaded here. That I have put here. But it's that simple. You don't even need to complicate it. You can just put it on your phone, write your notes down, and just say in a month, this is my wages and salaries. What is my total income? Maybe you're paying for mortgage or you're paying for rent. You enter it there. You're paying for insurance. How much are my utilities, cell phone? How much am I spending on my cell phone? I know that's another expense that you need to be on the lookout on. That's probably very high. And then your groceries, your car payment. Basically, this is how you just enter a budget. A budget can be this simple. It can also be drawn on a spreadsheet form. If you are very good at Excel, you can actually just put it there so that it can subtract for you instead of you actually calculating with your calculator, right? And now, what is very important that we always normally forget is the actual spent. You know, sometimes you will find your budget and say, okay, my mortgage is 3.5 a month, or rent is 3.5 a month. Insurance is 252.50 per month. Utilities are 300 a month, roughly. But now, and then cell phone is 200 bucks a month. That's how much you budget, or groceries are 1.5. But sometimes, actually, these are not exactly how you budgeted. So you sometimes have to actually enter exactly how much you have spent, exactly what has come out of your account when you went to actually spend on groceries or cell phone or whatever. And what I always encourage is keeping of receipts. But if you're not very good at keeping with receipts, or maybe the receipts are fading, because I know some shops the receipts fade, I encourage using the card. When you're actually, most of the time you're shopping, try and use your card to swipe, yeah, so that you can actually get your bank statement and you're able to see the exact amount that you've actually spent at Spa or whatever grocery store that you actually go to. All right. And then savings should also be a part of your budget. That is actually a priority that you should make in your budget, all right? As well as other debt or maybe entertainment. How much are you budgeting for it, and how much have you actually spent? With that, you are actually able to now see that, okay, all right, I didn't spend what I've actually budgeted for, right? And then you'll be able to adjust it next month. And then once we've looked at your budget and you're like, okay, this is not reflecting my goals, what can one do? Okay. When now you want to, maybe my income has reduced or my expenses are just too high. I always get this. This is the popular one from my clients. My salary is too little. My salary is too little. My expenses are very high. Not necessarily are you living within your means, right? Let's look at this. How do you now get your budget to actually to actually, align with your goals and where you want to go. What we do is what I call prioritization of expenses. All right. Let's say maybe you've lost your income, or your income has reduced, or your income has actually remained the same. What can one do to ensure that their budget actually is aligned to where they want to go? Or their budget is actually perfect and it's actually prioritizing savings and it's prioritizing investments to where you want to go, because you find out most goals that you want to do will require money. For example, if you want to go on holiday, you want to build that house, you want to buy that car, or whatever you want to do, it mostly is involves money. So that means you're going to need to adjust your budget to actually align your goals to where you want to go. All right. You go on a cost cutting mission. Simplify your life. I always say that just simplify your life. You don't need to be living luxuriously for you to achieve your goals, for you to actually, live a good life or live a good high standard life. Does not mean your life should be expensive. You see, that's just the way people get it wrong. You don't necessarily have to have everything, like, the list of your groceries have to have certain foods or whatever, or live a certain life. You don't have to be doing that for you to actually live the life of your dreams. Simplify your life, live below your means. Now, living below your means if you're getting a salary of 10,000, then probably have a budget of about 7,000. You can do that. How do you do that? By ensuring that you cut down your expenses as far as possible. How do you cut down your expenses? First, you look at your needs versus your wants. You really need that thing, or you just want it, right? It's just where you look at. That's how you start prioritizing expenses: needs versus wants. Do I really need this versus do I want it, right? And are your costs fixed or variable? Fixed means, for example, your rent cannot be 2,000 the other month, 3,000 the other month, 5,000 the other month. No, it's fixed. It's 3,000 every month. If it's 3,000 for the duration of the lease, in case it increases, it's going to increase again after a year, but it's not, changing every single month as compared to, for example, utilities. Water can actually change this month and it can change again next month, or electricity. That's what you call variable expenses. All right. This is the ones that change every single month. And then now, prioritization of expenses. I want to give you an example. How do you reduce your expenses? How do you prioritize them? Reduce your expenses in the home. I want to just give a typical example of how you can reduce expenses in the home. Guys, our grocery bill is normally just a little bit too high. And you'll find that sometimes it's too high because we're just a little bit wasteful in the home. For instance, you're cleaning the things that you actually use to clean your home. How long do they last you? Depending on how big your house is, one handy or one sunlight, whatever, that dishwasher should at least last you a month. But most people, you'll find out people are using 2 or 3 within a month. That is very expensive. When those kind of things that you need to start observing, now that we're all home, those are the things that we need to start observing, and actually observing if our help in the home, are they using those things properly, your washing powder, those little expenses, guys, those are the things that actually chow our money. All right. So I would really like you to observe that, observe your expenses in the home. Consumption of food. Are we overdoing it on the food aspect, where we are cooking and then we throw away some of the food because there's this thing that I don't eat food that has stayed a night. That kind of thinking is also very wasteful. And I remember my mom used to say to me, my child, poor people. This is my mom's concept, guys, is that poor people don't know how to save. So learn how to save so that you don't become poor. They're very wasteful. So it's very important that you observe that okay, I don't want to be poor, so I'm not going to be wasteful. So it's very important that you observe that. You cannot be cooking every other day when you don't need to, when you can just cook once and then probably eat again the next day, and then you can cook the other day. So those are the things that you look at. And what that save? It saves cooking oil, it saves a lot, it saves salt, it saves your cooking gas or electricity or whatever it is. teach your kids how to do this in the home, because how when you teach them that, they will also implement it later in their lives. What you do is also what your kids will do. So let's stop the wasting in the home, guys. You know, it's little things like that. Water. How much water are we actually using when we're showering or when we're bathing? We don't need to be showering for too long. Those basics are the ones that actually help us save money, and we're able to now put it in an investment account, and we're actually able to do whatever that we need with our money. All right. That's how you also reduce your utilities cost. Your geyser doesn't need to be on the whole day. It can just be on for 2 hours, and it's enough if water is used properly in the home. All right. How else can you prioritize your expenses? You ensure that you pay rent first. Remember, now these are the things that you look at. Okay, what do I need versus what I don't need? I can reduce my groceries expenses by removing things I don't need. I don't need that fancy ice cream. I don't need that fancy thing right now. This is what I need, and I can use things sparingly in the home. That you can manage. Rent. If rent is 3,000, rent is 3,000. You do need a roof over your head, right? So you should prioritize rent. Those are the things to prioritize. You should prioritize your loans. But now, speaking of rental as well, you know, sometimes if you feel like it's a little bit too heavy on you, and it's not necessarily having to feel that, sometimes you need to look and say, maybe the rental is too high, and maybe I'm living in a place where it's way beyond my income, right? I'm living beyond my means by living at a place where I cannot actually afford. So if it's a bit too much, move into a smaller place, move into a cheaper place, you know, and stop living a life that you cannot afford. That's another complex that I know sometimes we have, that we want to live in a certain place so that people can see us. And no, people don't care that much, trust me, you know. So those are the things that I would also advise. Look at your rental. If it's a bit too much, move into a cheaper place. If you are actually paying a mortgage, this is another one that I have done myself actually. If you're actually paying a mortgage towards a house, and this house is you know, maybe you're paying 3.5 towards a mortgage, and you could actually live in a cheaper place and rent out that house, and it can actually pay you 5,000. Let's say you're paying 3,000 towards your mortgage, right? How about you get a cheaper place that will probably cost you, I don't know, 1,000 or 1.5, right? And then you actually, that place, the one that you've mortgaged, you rent it out, and it gets, and the rent can actually be about 6,000, for instance. What do? The 3,000 goes towards the mortgage, the 1,000 goes to your rent, and you have an excess of how much? 2,000 for you to save. You see what I mean? I don't know if you understand that concept, that sometimes you can actually, if need be, if you feel like the mortgage is a bit too heavy on you, then why don't you just rent it out, you know, and then let it pay, and then you have the excess, and then you can keep the excess for yourself and save it, right? That's another way of doing it. And then that's another way. And then another way that you can also do with your loans, especially during this time, if it's that tough for you or income has been affected, please talk to the banks, find out if they have anything available, or any service available for anyone that that income has been affected. Can they actually probably waive your rental, or maybe push your rental to the other months? Because what's happening in Botswana now, we're able to talk to our landlords, or you know, or the tenants talk to the landlords, that they should be able to just push the rent for the next 3 months at least, until one can get that income. And may I note that does not mean the rent is free for the 3 months. You are going to pay it the next time. Or the loans, for example, the loans, you can actually ask your forward. If your loan was 2 years or 3 years, they're going to add that extra 3 months to later as well. So those are the things that I would like you to possibly look at and see how you can you know, pay your loans, or negotiate with the creditors or your bank or whoever has loaned you money. Another one is
Lorato?
Yes?
Lorato, sorry to interrupt you. The network froze there. You said that we should speak to who exactly about renegotiating the terms of our loans?
Okay, the terms of the loans, you can actually talk to the banker, the person who is giving you the loan. Okay, the person that has given you the loan, this is the banker. You can actually speak to them, find out what do they have in place for those that their income has been affected. Okay, in Botswana, for example, they have they have in place where if your income has been affected, you can actually apply to the banks. There's an application that you make, and they will help you, and they just need proof that your income has been affected, and they can give you 3 months holiday of not paying back the loan, just 3 months holiday. But that doesn't mean you're not going to pay those 3 months. They're probably going to add the extra 3 months to your loan duration, okay, for later. Instead of it being 2 years, it's probably going to be 2 years 3 months because of that. All right, so that's the point that I was saying, that just find out from the banker or whoever that has given you the loan, what do they have in place for customers that their income has been affected. All right, I hope that was clear. And then pay your insurance as well. If you still have insurance in place that you need to pay, probably talk to your insurance provider as well. Find out what do they have in place. So don't just keep quiet and your stop orders, or things are just bouncing on your bank because you don't have income. Don't just keep quiet. Talk to whoever that you are owing money, your landlord, your loan people, your insurance, whoever that you need to be paying money every single month. Talk to them and find out how can they help you when your income has been affected. All right. School fees. Now, this is another one. School fees. Well, in Botswana right now, our children are not going to school. Some are choosing to go online. Some schools are offering online services, etc. So those are the things. Again, engage the school. Find out what processes and how much are they going to be charging this term, when actually if they're going to be doing an online or sending out some programs for students to do when they're not actually at school, how much will that cost school fees wise? So engage the schools as well. Don't just keep quiet. And we've talked about reducing your grocery bill. So basically that's how, for an example, that's how you prioritize your expenses. May I also note that the fact that you are home, there is some saving that you are doing. Okay. The fact that you're not going to work, that means you are saving on gas. Or if you're using public transport, that means you're saving on public transport, right? If you are used to buying lunches every day at work, that means you're also saving on that. You see, that's another thing that sometimes we are saving, but we're not able to realize that money because we actually don't know how much we're spending on that petrol or on that lunch. So now start thinking, how much do I roughly spend per month in petrol? I spend probably 300 bucks, and I say, you know what, I should be seeing that money. So take that 300 bucks, put it on your savings and investment accounts every month, because you're not using that money. You are home, right? For as long as you're home, for as long as you're not using your car, you are saving on that. For as long as you're not going to work and buying lunches, if you are spending 250 bucks every single month on lunch, take that money, put it aside. You are actually saving that money. So that's the money that will actually help you cushion any expenses that are still there, right? In case the income has actually been affected, or income has not been affected. So you should be able to also save and actually put money aside for the future. Okay. So that's the part that I wanted to also note out, that don't forget that you are also saving when you are actually home. Another expense that I know will increase automatically, the fact that we're all locked on lockdown, is groceries. Guys, my son is eating right, left, and center. I know that that bill has increased, but you need to manage it very well. This is a time where you're going to be annoying your family more than anyone. You need to annoy them as far as possible. They cannot be eating however way that they want. They cannot be using electricity and doing whatever that they want, however way that they want. You can also reduce your expenses by possibly not paying for cable as versus paying for internet. So rather prioritize internet so that you can be accessing um, such courses that you can actually check online and gain from it, rather than paying cable. That money you can save for the future. So guys, just remember that when we are saving, we're actually saving for the future, so that in case our income is affected, if your income is not affected, right? In case your income is affected in the future, that will cushion you. You are also saving for those goals and those goals that you've actually written for your future that you want to achieve. All right, and then we move on. Let's say now you have lost your income totally. What are we going to do? Because the examples that I've been giving, it's as if income has not been lost. Rather, we're just prioritizing. You've lost your income. There's no money coming in. There's no reducing of grocery bill because there's actually no money coming in. Now, what can one do when they have lost their income? Seek government welfare. What is your government doing? I know there should be some sort of plan for the government for their nation in case it's tough. They know it's going to be a next tough 3 or 6 months. There should be something in place. Like, for example, I'll give what's happening in Botswana right now. If your income has been affected in Botswana, you can apply to our taxman, through our taxman, Botswana Unified Revenue Services, for you to actually get at least half of your salary, as long as there was proof of income that you were receiving income and it has been affected. You apply there and then they'll give you the income. But this happens through your employer, okay? For instance, I'm an employer myself, so I had to apply and actually I ensure that, okay, these are my employees. My business has been affected because of the COVID-19, and therefore this is how much I used to pay my salaries. Then they will help me with half of the bill. So you also inform your employees that it's going to be tough. This is what's going to happen. But at least the government should be able to help. All right. So this is how you are seeking government welfare. What's happening there? So that means now your income might not be the same. So that means serious cut down of expenses. If it means you moving back home, move back home. If it means you moving to a cheaper place, move back to a cheaper place. Okay. Whatever you need to do, just live as simple as possible. Don't live life. Your life might have to change for a bit. It's just readjustment, guys. We're just readjusting things. It's not going to be permanent. Okay. Access to food hampers. What does your government have in place for people who've been affected? Their income has been affected. Therefore, are there any food hampers that they're giving out? Our government is doing the same. If your income has been affected, particularly for people who, people who depend on working every single day. We call them hustlers. So every single day they have to be hustling to get some sort of income to eat. Those guys, because now they're not able to go out and hustle that little income for them to eat, how can they have access to food? Our government has done where now they're giving the nation, the ones that have been affected, some food hampers. All right. Now it's probably now to start looking for a job. If your income has been affected or you've lost your income, it's okay. There are still some job adverts actually still coming in. Do not think everything has actually stopped. Companies are still running, some of them. So just look out on opportunities available in terms of job. Now it's probably also that time to implement that business idea. The one thing I can give is that in a situation like this, during a depression period or a recession period, is an opportunity for us as Africans. I'll say give that it's an opportunity for us to do for ourselves, to be self-sustainable. Okay. Find out what the needs are in our nation. For example, our nation right now, we're too dependent on our neighboring country in terms of provision of food. So this is an opportunity for Botswana to start being self-sustainable, to start possibly getting into farming, to start producing tomatoes and all those, butternuts, all those food that we actually importing from South Africa. So this is an opportunity for us to start being self-sustainable. Manufacturing sector as well. Get into the manufacturing sector in Botswana. I'll give an example again. Botswana, the government really supports anyone that gets into the manufacturing sector or even the farming sector for us to be a self-sustainable country, to be an export country versus an import country. So if you find out again what the government has in place for its citizens to be self-sustainable. So these are the opportunities now for you to start thinking, what can I do for myself? What can I do for my country as well? Instead of just looking at the government for provision or looking for a job and sitting around, start thinking, apply your mind. All right. I've already talked about asking for a payment holiday in case your income has been affected. May I note that if your income is not affected, please do not ask for unnecessary payment holidays, okay? Particularly on the rental aspect, please remember that the landlord also probably has to eat. The landlord is probably also affected by this as well. They need the income to feed their children. So let's not take advantage of it. If your income is not affected, try and pay rent as it is so that they can also pay their bills on their side. All right. So let's just be all considerate to each other. We've already mentioned move to a cheaper place if your income has totally been affected and you're not going to be able to pay the rental, or you're not going to be able to maintain that kind of home, move to a cheaper place, and then sell what you don't need. This is another way of actually making yourself some extra income. Maybe you have like 3 TVs, sell the other one, right? You have too many cars, sell the other ones. Maybe you have old clothes, maybe you have clothes your children have outgrown, or you have, I don't know, whatever that you have that you can sell in the home. Look around your home, declutter and sell that furniture you don't need. So, so that you live have a clutter-free environment. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about, emphasize on creation of another income stream. All right. This will be whether you are full-time employed, or as or even as a side hustle, or actually creating your own income. All right. So now let's say you are even full-time employed and this will be your side hustle. This is when you start thinking of that skill that you're good at. There are people, guys, who are so good, naturally good at, planting things, and they're so good at gardening. Please use that skill to probably start growing some food that you can supply to a supermarket. All right, why not? Start looking for farms that you can use to start plowing those tomatoes, or whatever that you're good at, or whatever that you're passionate about. There are people who are just sitting with their skill or sitting with their gifts. Please start using your gift now. This is a time for you to start exploring your gifts. Okay, there are people who are so good at cooking, they are not utilizing their gifts. You can actually start catering, you can actually start maybe cooking lessons or whatever. Just use your gift. Now, people who are good at decor and events, start event planning. Now that I know events have probably paused right now, but nothing is going to remain the same like now. Just plan for the future. This is now. Start launching your business online, start opening that Facebook account, start thinking about being creative on how you're going to advertise it for when it starts, right? So that this is a time for you to start thinking about it. If you're actually good at maths, why don't you start tutoring maths? Start training sports. If you're good at basketball, if you're good at football, why don't you enhance that skill? There are people who are naturally gifted. People who are naturally gifted at singing. Why don't you start singing lessons or piano lessons or whatever that you're good at for children or for adults? Why don't you guys, we should just stop sitting on our gifts when we have been given these gifts for us to use for the world and make a money out of. These are things that are possible. People are doing them. I'm doing it. You can do it too. All right. Another way that you can create another income stream is, remember that money that you've saved, you can invest that money in what you call the compound interest saving account. Okay. Those ones are normally accessible through asset management companies. So start investing your money so that you can get good interest back, where now your money remains invested and you get just interest, you're getting paid your interest back. But that comes after a while. But that only comes after a while when you've actually made proper savings and you've sacrificed your life, you've sacrificed the things you don't need so that you can have a better life in the future, right? Yeah. I hope I've been clear. I'll just recap a little bit on what we offer, the services that we actually offer. We do group trainings, one-on-one financial coaching. We do virtual training, as I'm doing now, coaching via Zoom and Skype. I do have clients outside of Botswana that we actually help via Zoom and Skype. So it is possible. We've been doing it for a while now. We help our clients by customizing our trainings or our coaching specific to you. We do business development consulting for SMEs. This is basically, we help our clients to be profitable All right, these are the SMEs by installing efficient processes and systems. This includes business strategy, marketing strategy, internal controls, as well as accounting and tax advisory. All right, so I hope this was good for you. If you have any questions, ask right away. And those are my contact details and my social media pages. We do have Suero Consulting on Facebook, on Instagram. We do post regularly there some advisory on personal finances. You can email me if you need my services at lorato@sueroconsulting.com or Suero Podcast. We also have podcasts on Apple and Google Podcasts, and for all the podcasts media pages, you can actually access our podcast there where we talk about personal finances. We also have a YouTube channel, Suero TV on YouTube, where I'm busy posting all the teachings that I'm doing. All right. You should have a good day. I hope this was good for you. Let me know. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorato.
Thank you.
Thank you for
welcome,
that.
Emma.
I'll just wait for your screen.
Okay.
Thank you, Lorato. That was really comprehensive. I like the fact that you broke down the simple things that we can do in our houses to cut down on costs, especially since we're not going out as much as we used to. Social distancing is now here with us to stay. So there won't be much money spent on entertainment and things like that. I do see the questions that are coming in. We will get to them right now. We need to give Diana time to present. Another thing, keep your questions coming. Also tell us where you are. And another thing that we need to think about as Africans is Black tax.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that we can't get away from. Even though COVID is happening, you still have your extended family issues to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, all of those responsibilities. On top of that, consultants, people who work based on tenders or, you know, based on customers also have a unique set of challenges to face. We'll get to the questions, but right now I would like to open the floor for Diana Bagarukayo's presentation. Please take it away, Diana.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you can all see my presentation.
Yes, we can. Diana, please enlarge it for slideshow view.
Okay.
Thank you so
great.
much.
So thank you to all those who are joining us on Zoom and on Facebook. And thank you, Lorato, for your presentation. So Lorato took us through what we need to do to prepare our budgets and our finances, especially now in the COVID environment. I'm going to take you through what we should look at even after COVID. Before I do that, allow me to introduce myself to you. So my name is Diana Bagarukayo. I'm an economist. I work with the World Bank, managing education projects in Uganda. But I'm also a founding member of an organization called Phenomenal Women. This organization was founded by Lisa Sekaja and is based in Geneva, but we have branches in Uganda. We have presence in the US, in the UK, and in Zimbabwe. And basically this foundation is there to strengthen and build confidence among African women and women of color. So that is one of the organizations that I'm actively engaged with. I also have a passion for finance. I believe that everyone needs to use their income in a way that can create growth for them and their family and eventually for Africa. So I'm very passionate about finance, about skills and tourism, because Africa is a beautiful place with our animals and lakes and rivers. And I feel we haven't used that to the best of, to its potential to actually bring more income to our countries. I'm the author of a book called Dream It Possible, which I will share with you later on, which is a life planning guide. And we've developed it into a mastermind 4-week module. I'm a wife, mother, and change maker. So that's just a bit about myself. Now, I wanted us to look at the situation we're in now. And I don't know how it is for you in your country you know, whoever is logged in here and from Botswana or Zimbabwe, wherever you are, what is your experience with COVID currently? And what is your country going through? In Uganda, I think we've reached about 88 cases of COVID. Some countries are at 400, others are in thousands. But what's the situation? And I'm going to look at three main questions. One is, how has COVID changed people, or how is it changing people? What does it mean to you as an individual? And if COVID or any other fatality was to reoccur, would you be in a better position? Yeah. I wish you could just tell us how COVID is affecting you, and maybe on the chats, tell us if it has impacted you in any way, because they say we're all in the storm, but we're not in the same boat. Some people are on ships and others are on small rolling boats, depending on how you've managed your finances. In Uganda, the government is giving food to people who don't have food at the moment. Private sector is asking for tax reductions. So there are lots of things happening, and it depends on how you prepare for events like this, if at all. So how is COVID changing people? How have people changed? I think one thing that we have seen is definitely our budgets are strained, you know, for many homes, not for everybody, but for many homes, budgets are strained. If this situation went on for 1 week, it would probably be okay. But many countries have been in shutdown for a month or 2 or 3 months. People have lost jobs. I know organizations that have given their staff 1 month's notice because they're not earning money and they feel that, you know, we can't sustain the staff we have. So it's actually causing a financial strain on people. You know, but we've also had some positive outcomes with COVID. First of all, many of us are doing a lot more things online. Many people who were not going to church are now doing church online. I'm doing my grocery shopping online. I'm doing my market online. So people have gone, those who have access to technology or to phones have now gone e-commerce and e-shopping and e-services. So that's a positive change that we see, especially for people in tech. You know, now is a good moment to promote that IT solution. We're doing a lot more chores. You know, you're at home, you're cooking, you're cleaning. We're doing a lot more of things which we normally would pay people to do. So we need to think post-COVID, do you still want to pay someone to do it, or do you want to do it yourself? Those are some of the changes we're seeing. I think we've also realized that life is fragile. You know, especially countries, if you look at Europe, they're losing 700 people a day, 1,000 people a day, you know, 10 or 20,000 in other African countries. But life is fragile. So it has taught us also to value relationships and to value our time. Those are some of the changes that I see that's happening, you know, both good and bad currently with this COVID pandemic around the world. But what does that mean to you as an individual? What does all that mean? Everything that is happening and around you. And I wanted to look at you first as a business person, because we're looking at our finances here. And yes, you could be formally employed. You could be having your side hustle, as Lorato was telling us about, your side business or your other investments. How has that affected you as a business person? And first of all, you know, particularly if you have a small business, first of all, what you need to know post-COVID is that your client has changed. You know, I asked earlier, how has COVID changed you? And I said, we're doing things online. We're doing chores ourselves. So even post-COVID, we need to understand that our client has changed. And how has our client changed? First of all, our client has also learned to prioritize. You know, if you've gone through or you're going through a tough situation now with COVID, you're prioritizing your budget, you're limiting your expenses, you're cutting down on things which are luxuries. So even when COVID ends, some people will continue with these habits. So what kind of business are you doing? And is it an essential business, or are you providing an essential service that when I, as an individual, cut down my budget, you're not going to lose business. So if you're providing luxurious items, post-COVID, kind of reflect and see, will people still be interested in the short run in some of those luxurious items? In the long run, yes, we probably will all go back to our habits or whatever. But in the short run, when people have lost jobs, when people are holding on to their money, you know, is their spending habit going to be the same? So that's one thing as a business person you need to reflect on. Who is my client? What is their spending habit? And how has COVID changed them? Because what you need to do then is also change your model or change your strategy to adjust to the changed client. So yes, the client has changed. They're holding on to their money. They're holding on to their budget, but also they're doing a lot more stuff online, you know. And I'll give an example of myself. In these last 5 weeks, I've been doing my groceries and my market shopping online and being delivered to me. Post-COVID, I probably don't see myself going back to the market because I realized I'm getting a good price from the company that's delivering online. And the time I spent going to the market, I can actually spend it doing something else, you know, that would probably bring me a better return. So those are some of the things you need to look at. Clients are also discovering that they can do a lot more online. So is there a possibility for your business to go online? Have you gone online? What service are you providing? And can you provide it online? Because yes, we're looking at post-COVID, but we're also in COVID now. Some of the businesses that are still thriving and making money are those who have immediately gone online. I'll give an example. We have a company here in Uganda called Eunice's Kitchen, that is a catering company and restaurants. They have gone online. They're delivering breakfast. They're delivering snacks for children. They've done different packages. So they're still cooking as a restaurant, but they're delivering different packages that people want. Simple things, breakfast, chapatis, snacks for the kids, cakes. So those businesses are still thriving, even when everybody thinks that there's a shutdown. Some businesses have immediately adapted. A friend of mine has a barber. He's gone online. Well, he's going to people's houses and cutting their hair, you know, once you call him. I don't know if that's allowed under the COVID restrictions, but some people have adapted. So how has your business adapted to the situation that we're in now? And that's what I'm saying. Look at your client and see what you need to change. But also look at the competition, because while some of us are in our houses, you know, following the latest series and taking long naps, other people are thinking and innovating and saying, okay, I'm in a dry spell now, but once COVID ends and everything reopens, I'm going to come up with a new product. I'm going to rebrand my business. I'm going to change my business model. So don't think that everybody is at home just sleeping. Your competition is thinking. So you need to also smarten up. If you're not, please, it's not too late. See what's happening, see what's trending, see how you can be a step ahead of the competition. Because once the situation normalizes, you'll be surprised that new companies have been formed. People are developing passions. They're going to open up new companies. You have new competition with the cutting edge. So that's one thing that I want us to look at. What does COVID mean to you as a business person? And what are you going to do better in light of this COVID experience? But also let's look at what does it mean to you as a homemaker, as an individual. I think we've learned so much from COVID, and we're still learning even as it goes on. We've learned to cut our budget, you know? So that means you can actually, post-COVID, continue to reduce your budget. You don't need all the things that you always thought were essentials. Now you've discovered, no, you can actually do with less. And these are positive habits that you can continue with that will help you in your financial journey. We've also learned that we can actually do without certain things. You know, not everything is, as Lorato said, not everything is necessary or is a need. You want it, but it's not necessary. And during this time, we've realized that, you know, travel has been cut. So you actually don't need to travel as regularly as you do. You don't need to move around as regularly as you do. Those are some of the lessons that I think we have learned. And I would be glad to hear from you what you have learned and are learning. We've also learned to prioritize your time. For those of us who are working at home, You know, your work schedule is still tight. You're dealing with family, you're dealing with children. You want to check on your friends, but we've learned to now that we can actually prioritize. You can still actually do the work you used to do in a whole day at the office. You can do it in 2 hours at your home, in your home. So we need to, you know, look at time and know that you can prioritize your time, you can prioritize your finances. Another thing I've seen is that we're also so gifted. Someone said this COVID period is like a talent show because we're watching people cook, we're watching everybody doing a WebEx and doing a seminar. So we've realized that we're so gifted. We've always limited our thinking within a box, but COVID has brought different people out. Painters are coming out, people who never used to paint, chefs are coming out, all kinds of gifts, you name it. We've seen it on the COVID 101 talent show. So that's something that we've realized we're so gifted. And how do you take this gifting to another level? Is it just a COVID excitement? Or do you want to then say, oh, wow, you know, I can actually do this as a business. I can actually carry this on post-COVID. Then the last area that I want to look at, or one of the last areas I want to look at is, if COVID was to reoccur, will you be in a better position? And God forbid, that's not something that we want to happen. But I want us to look at it in the sense of, are there things that we are learning now that can help us change for the future? So we shouldn't be the same. If this was to reoccur or any other incident, and previously you were getting food from government, you shouldn't be again on the list of people getting food. You know, if this incident happened and you had no savings and immediately you're asking people to bail you out, next time you shouldn't be again on the list of people who need to be bailed out. So we need to learn lessons from events that happen in our lives. And it's good to have a journal or even take time today and just write, what have I learned from COVID? What has it taught me? You know, both the positive and the negative. What have you learned about your children, about your family, about yourself, about how you manage uncertainty? And how can you do better? I think that's always a life journey. What can I do better? So if COVID was to reoccur, we shouldn't be in the same position. We shouldn't be rushing to our bankers in a crisis. We shouldn't be crying out for help. And we shouldn't be doing that because we've learned lessons and we know that we need to manage our finances. So Lorato talked about this a bit, so I'll not go into details much, but we should manage our finances better. One, we need to widen our income sources. If you've only been in the tourism business and now, boom, COVID has hit, what's happening to the tourism sector? It's gone down. No one is visiting, no one is traveling, everything is closed, you know? There's nothing, almost nothing happening in tourism. So that means if you can divert in another area so that you have income coming in, this is the time to think about it, you know? Widen your income sources. Don't depend on one chain of income. Because yes, even post-COVID, the borders will be open, but tourism may not pick up probably even until next year, you know, because people fear to travel or people just want to build up their businesses before they begin to travel. So broaden your income sources. If you've been working in an 8-to-5 job and now they're telling you, we're giving you 1 month's notice, we shouldn't be, you know, scrambling around. You should know, okay, my 8-to-5 has closed now, so let me continue with my baking and, you know, making wedding cakes or birthday cakes. Or my 8-to-5 has closed, let me start my consulting or, you know, energize my consulting. So let's widen our income sources. One of my mentors says that you need to have at least 7 income sources coming in, you know. So he has them, he'll tell you, I have real estate coming, I've invested in an investment group, I collect interest from them, I do talks, I do trainings, but we need to widen up our sources to make us less, what is the word? To make us more resilient so that whatever happens, you know that this has closed, but this is open. Yeah, so let's have that mentality, and let's use this slowdown or COVID period to think, what else can I be doing? And it doesn't have to be things that divert your energy so that you're running around in 1,000 places, but you can find, silent partnerships, investment areas, or treasury bills, or things like that, or cut down on your budget so that you have more money to invest in other areas. We need to be saving. We need to, personally, I'm one who thinks of a rainy day saving. And some people always ask me, when is that rainy day coming? Because you keep putting money for a rainy day and it hasn't come in 2 years or whatever. But yes, have that rainy day saving. We've heard about families where they've fallen in calamity, and the husband will say, okay, now I can't afford to pay for school fees, so we need to change the kids' school. And the wife will say, no, I have a rainy day saving. I've been putting away, 10,000 shillings or 5,000 shillings for the last 3 years. So there's no harm in putting away a bit of savings. And this is something that people always debate. Why should you save when you can invest it and all that? But there are different formulas, different percentages. Do what works for you. But at least you should have some money saved away, from which you can then use some to invest. And you can invest in the various options. I know there was a question about the options for savings, various options. And I'll just list a few which you could use. Fixed deposit. This is for savings, just putting your money away in a fixed deposit. Maybe you'll get 10% per annum, maybe more, maybe less. Treasury bills. Treasury bills you can do for 3 months. You can do for 6 months, I think, 9 months, periodically. Bonds, which you save for a couple of years. If you don't have any high expenditures happening, or your children are still in nursery school, you can do a treasury bond. You can do a bond so that when they're now going to primary school, you then unleash or relieve that bond. You can do insurance. There's lots of insurance offers and insurance packages by the different insurance firms. You can save with saving and credit groups. Some of them just put money away and they lend. So you save with them, they lend out your money to other people. You gain an interest every year. You can save with the pension funds as well. Now pension funds are open up to, not only those who have, not only to those who have a salary, but they're open up to anyone. So there are lots of avenues. My favorite is land, because I always think the land is not growing, but the population is growing. So the price of land will always go up. So buy a piece of land, buy a small piece of land. 5 years, you can liquidate it and you would have your money back. So there are many options to save. Then invest. Find investment groups that you can invest in if you feel that you're not, you don't have enough knowledge. Look for advisors, look for financial advisors to tell you where to invest in. Look for what's trending on the market. We need to follow the news. We need to read and see what's happening with stocks, what's happening with shares, what prices are changing, when is a good time to buy. There are lots of investment opportunities. And if you invest in things, your money then grows. So don't only save and have, 10,000 or whatever, $2,000 stocked somewhere, but get some of your savings and invest it so that your money grows. And look for people or organizations that can do that if you don't have the knowledge. And I think one thing that is important is for us to get out there and interact and meet people who are investing and who are doing different things. It opens up your mind to what's happening. Yes, I've already talked about putting money aside for the rainy day. Then cut down on unnecessary expenditure. And Lorato spoke about this. You don't need everything that you have. You can actually cut your budget so that you have more money saved or more money invested. And those are some of the things that we need to be looking at and positioning ourselves for. If something was to happen, you're in a better place than you are now. In terms of cutting down expenditure, yes, it's also about cutting down things you don't need, but it's also about substituting things. For example, I've seen some people do vegetable gardens in their home. So they've cut down on purchase of vegetable. They're growing maize or bananas. So you cut down on some of your budgets. You're using solar. So you've bought solar panels, which is a one-off expenditure, but you're not paying the electricity bills. So there are lots of avenues that you can look at. When you've done your budget, look and see what can subsidize this, you know? Instead of me having a gardener, can I ask my son to clear the garden and pay him that? Because when you pay him, it still goes back into the family budget, you know? So look at the different alternatives of reducing your budget. But then, yes, we're in a COVID pandemic. It's going to pass. It will definitely pass. And my advice is that you dream again. Dream again. This is not it. This has happened. We're learning lessons. We're improving ourselves, but continue to dream again. And as I said earlier, I wrote a book called Dream It Possible. We do a mastermind. If you're interested in doing a mastermind where we take you through a process of dreaming and planning for your life, you'll please send me an email after this session, and I'll send you more details about that. So just looking again, areas to invest. During this COVID time, I was looking at what's trending and what's happening around. And definitely e-commerce, e-businesses, those who are doing e-businesses are thriving now. And people are beginning to learn that actually you can do a lot of business by using the internet. Companies are actually learning that I don't have to have my staff come into office and we're renting an expensive building in town if that staff member can actually work from home. So many businesses may or will probably go transform and do a lot more e-commerce, e-business. So that's an area where I think it's open, and governments haven't yet even learned how to capture or tax or, you know, get into the e-commerce space. So I think that's a space that you need to explore, because if you have a passion, as Lorato said, you can do it on the weekend, you can do it in the evenings, and then have your e-shop. So e-commerce is an area that people need to look at for whatever service you're providing, whether it's consulting, whether it's a physical shop, whatever business, people are on the internet, and you can get the statistics and know how many people are on the internet in your country, and it's a global market. So whatever you're producing, you don't need to look even at your country. Look at the world, look at the globe. You can sell your products wherever. There are lots of firms that will help you, hook you up to a good payment system. There are lots of firms that will hook you up to a delivery system. So you don't have to worry about that. All that information is there. Post-COVID and during this COVID time, there are a lot of mental health issues. Many people are alone. Many people don't know how to handle being in one space. Many people feel suffocated being at home. So there are a lot of psychosocial issues that will come out. Even now we've heard of couples. This is the first time couples are at home for 8 hours, probably in their 10 years or 20 years of marriage. Previously, you just see each other in the morning and the evening. So even that, we need to look at the psychosocial issues around relationships, children, you know, people who are alone at home with their pets. What kind of support can you give them? You know, whether it's online, whether it's physical, now during this time or even later. E-learning, learning is still continuing to happen. Learning is continuing to happen. Learning is continuing to happen. Schools, we know, like Rwanda has closed schools till September. Children need to learn. How do you come into that space, or how does that continue? Universities, people are at home. Vocational institutions, people are at home. Learning needs to continue. All these, you know, masters or short courses people are doing, they still need to happen. So there's a space there to do e-learning. And then essential services. In Uganda, they defined essential services. And many of us were shocked to hear our work and our jobs are not essential, because they said essential is medical, it's transport, it's technology and communication. So how do you look at it's agriculture. How do you look at post-COVID being one of those essential service providers? Because you know that if calamity hits, there are certain things people need. They need medical care, they need food, they need to go to school. There are certain basic back to the basics that we need in life. So those are areas that we can look at if we're looking at investment. So just to wrap up what I've said yes, we're in the COVID pandemic. A lot is happening. Good things are happening to us. We're learning lots of things about ourselves, but we also need to focus on what are the opportunities post-COVID and how can we leverage into that? How can we increase our finances and ensure that if this was to happen again, we're on top of our game? These are the contacts. As I said, I'm a founding member of the Phenomenal Women Global and the focal point for Phenomenal Women Uganda. You can find us or contact me and the different women I work with on our website, Phenomenal Women Global, on our Facebook page, Phenomenal Women Uganda. The email is there, phone contacts, and my WhatsApp number. If you're interested in joining the mastermind class that I mentioned, please contact me. And we'll also be having a series during this COVID period as Phenomenal Women. So please hook up into that. We'll be discussing finances again and mental health, e-business, and we have lots of other topics. We also have a mentoring program because we're interested in mentoring and strengthening Africans, especially women, to be better people and to contribute to the growth of Africa. So thank you very much. I hope this was useful.
It was amazing. Thank you so much, Diana, for all of the tips and the in-depth content that you gave us. They were so relatable, the examples that you gave. I especially love what you mentioned about land. I have a cousin in Uganda who has now started farming by force, just because they live so far away and they can't get to their usual markets. And now this is a new business avenue. I have a friend in Windhoek who has now started selling personal protective equipment, cloth masks. So I think it's really about innovating, as the two of you have said. So before we move on to our question and answer session, I'm going to put up a quick poll for all of our participants. I'm going to give you 40 seconds or so to please answer the two questions that are on your screen now. Lorato and Diana, do you see it on the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
You do.
Yeah.
Those of you who are joining us on Facebook Live, just bear with us for a few more seconds. Okay, so I'm going to close the poll now. Thank you so much for your responses. Let me just quickly get to the chats before we get to the Q&A. So Ame Moremi is in Botswana. She says, thank you so much, Lorato and Diana. God bless you. Harriet and Damata says, thank you, ladies. Colin B, everybody is saying thank you. Ndahafa from Namibia says, thank you, Diana, for the presentation. I like the part you made me pause and think, if this pandemic was to reoccur, will one be in a better position in terms of self-preparedness? Okay, so let me move to the Q&A quickly. So Daniel says, I feel that budgets are easier for those who receive their monthly salaries or income as a lump sum. I have found it harder as a consultant who receives multiple mini payments at different hours or days of the month. This is very important you know, we're all talking about starting a side business, side hustle, or now making that your main business during this time. Ladies, what do you say to Daniel about this?
Okay, can I just answer that as well? I can relate to what he's saying, especially if you are in consulting. You know, there are days or months where there is no income at all, and then there are some months where there is income coming in. He found it difficult and finding it difficult to budget, especially now that it's been a while. No money not coming in. Now you just have to spend however way that you can. But what I have done is that I have made sure that whatever income that I receive at that particular point, I can spread it to actually cover the months that are coming ahead. So it's important. I know it's not easy, but it's important to budget it, or else you will not know where your money is gone. And that's exactly how money disappears, because then you're just gonna spend it however way, cover there, cover there, cover there quickly. It's so important. It is doable. It's not easy, but it is doable. Money comes in immediately. Put it inside your budget. You just need to draw up the budget. It's that simple. Budgets, you can actually even get an app if you need to get an app. You've received 5,000 pula this month or this week. Put it in the budget and actually see, okay, this is what I'm going to spend this money on this week. If you need to spend that money on this week, and actually see, okay, do I need this? Because what that does is that makes you pause and actually think about how you're going to spend that money, instead of just spending it however quickly without actually planning for it or actually looking at how you're going to spend it. Because sometimes when you actually put it down, it makes you think and you're able to say, okay, no, maybe not. Maybe I don't need that. But why am I spending all my money on that? You're able to reflect and actually see what you're doing. So it's not easy, but it's definitely doable. Just pause whatever money that you're receiving, and if you need to spend it, download your budget or put in your budget and just see, okay, this is what I'm going to do with it. This is what I'm going to do with it. Always prioritize and put money aside to save for a rainy day. Like Diana was saying, put money aside for a rainy day. So when you actually budget for that 5,000 or 5,000 bucks or 500 bucks that you received that week, then you're able to say, okay, I'm going to put this much away. I'm going to use this for that, this for that, because you know that probably next week or next month, there'll be no business. So you always have to put money aside for when there is no business coming in, when the dry months. So I can relate to that. It's not consistent, especially when you are in consultancy. It's not consistent, and if you have employees, you still need to pay them. So you have to budget so that you can be able to put money aside and think about things that are going to come, and you want to have that money to do it.
Thank you so much, Lorato. Diana, would you like to add to that?
Yes, just to say that when you get a lump sum, then pay for some of the services in advance. So you can pay your water bill for 3-4 months. You can pay your electricity bill. All those services allow you to prepay. You can pay your children's fees for 2 terms. So once you have that lump sum, make that advance payments up, at least for some of the critical things that you need to pay for. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a chat here from Lisa. She says, can you share basic info on how to start a business from scratch for those who have not been in this field but want to, especially online business? What are the key aspects to consider? And she's writing from Geneva. So Lisa, we do have 2 sessions that are upcoming. Please just check our Facebook page. We have one on the 16th, which is about taking your business online and developing a wireless mindset. We have another one on, I think it's the 17th as well. And just, I don't know, I'm just trying to remember the calendar, but it's about customer acquisition. Actually, it's on the 23rd of May. It's about optimizing customer acquisition and challenges that African entrepreneurs face doing business online. And you know for sure one of the things we deal with is our data and our connectivity. So please just, I will send you more information on how you can sign up for those. I'm moving on to the next question. How do you help consultants and shopkeepers who depend on customers? Diana, would you like to answer that?
Yes, sure. So who depend on customers? I think in this period, if your customers are not coming to you because either it's not a priority to them or they don't know how to reach you, you need to reach out to your customers. So for I think shopkeepers, you said, for those I know, as I mentioned, many of the businesses have gone online. The market vendors, the supermarkets, the computer companies, even bookshops have gone online now. You can actually go and order whatever you need and they'll have it delivered to you. So I think of e-commerce for people who have shops, and for consultants as well. You need to reach your client, or you need to come up with products that are relevant for them. You know, sometimes people don't know what they want until they see you come up with a product, and they then will buy into that. So look for your customers, go to your customers if they're not coming to you during this period.
Thank you, Diana. Frederica is asking, are we going to get the recordings as participants? These are very educative and informative sessions. The recording is going to be available on our Facebook page, Secure the Bag Africa. So please check it out. I'm not going to take it down. It's currently recording live. Fafa is asking, how can insurance be used as a way of saving? Are there specific types of insurance? Ladies?
Yes, I think Dana actually did mention, yes, there are, but what she means by insurance is that there are policies, investment policies that you can actually get into. You know, like companies such as Metropolitan, companies, you know, particularly insurance companies, they do have insurance policies that are actually investment policies. Okay, those investment policies that you've actually attached yourself to, including the pension. You know, there are some that I said we are offering you pension that you can actually have individually. Those are actually underwritten by insurance. So that's actually what Diana meant when she said insurance investment policies that you can actually get into. So all those policies that are like 5-10 years that you're signing, those are underwritten by insurance. So that is what you can get into. Yes, they are there.
Thank you. Diana, do you want to add to that?
Yes, in addition to some of those policies, many of the insurance companies are doing what you call unit trusts, which are like, it's almost like a fixed deposit. You save with them and then you earn almost a daily or monthly interest, and you can retrieve your money at any point. So those are quite popular tools, instruments. Also, some of the policies, if nothing happens to you, you get your money back in 5 years. So you need to check with the different insurance policies. Yeah, insurance companies, sorry.
Thank you, Diana. And I have a few questions here about good budget apps that you can recommend.
Yeah, there are some. If you actually, there's one that I was actually using at one point. It was called, I'm trying to remember, I just deleted it because I'm busy trying to come up with mine. Yeah, I'll just look for them and actually recommend. But I know iPhone actually has one called Wallet that you can use to actually you know, put your money in there and actually budget well for your things that you are actually using for. I'm trying to remember this app, but it was so good because it was actually, you know, you can actually track your expenses daily on it. I'll look for it and actually answer the question in a bit.
Okay, Diana, do you have an app you use?
No, I do my own. I have my own templates.
Okay.
That I do, which I can
one good way to find apps is actually to Google, and then your Play Store or Apple Store will bring up the most highly rated apps that you can use. So Ndahafa is asking if we can share the schedule for the upcoming events. Yes, please visit our Facebook page, Secure the Bag Africa. There is a calendar. Otherwise, you can email info@securethebagafrica.com. Ian says there's nothing in Uganda for middle class income earners if your income is gone. No welfare available. Botswana and Southern Africa are different. You depend on relatives and the benevolence of others.
Yeah.
What do we say to this?
Yeah, I think in a situation like that, then that means as a citizen, you're gonna need to get creative on actually creating your own income. And I do understand not all countries are able to do this for their citizens. And that means you have to get creative on how you're going to create your own income. Like I've been actually being giving examples. What are your gifts? What can you offer? This is an opportunity for us to be, as Africans, to be self-sustainable, especially as we are so good at farm produce. Why don't we start, farming? And I know our soils are so good in Africa. These are the things that we need to start tapping into and actually being self-sustainable. Manufacturing. Well, how can you start manufacturing something for the country and actually start selling? And it's as simple as doing spinach and then selling it to the shop just next to you. Doing cabbage. It's so simple. Tomatoes. That's how creative we need to start being right now and being self-sustainable.
Thank you so much for that, Lorato. I don't know if you'd like to add any final words, Diana?
On the same question?
Yes, or just in general as we wrap up.
Okay. Yes, maybe just to say that there are lots of opportunities. I think for those who are gainfully or formally employed, that's great. If you're not formally employed, there are lots of opportunities around you. Somebody once told me that as long as you have a knife, you can't be jobless. And they were talking about here in Uganda, we eat matoke, bananas, as a staple, one of our staple foods. And now the corporate generation doesn't like to peel bananas, but the market women supply bananas. So as long as you have a knife, you can be the broker. You get people who want bananas and people who don't want it peeled, and just broker that, and you earn money, even if you don't have a plantation. So I think there are lots of opportunities that we need to look around and be open. Many times the issue is just being consistent and believing in yourself and following that through. It's not really about the opportunities not being there. So just to encourage all the participants that during this COVID time, please pay attention to your surroundings, what's happening, make sure you interact with useful people that will help you and give you skills on how to manage your finances. So thank you. And I look forward to hearing from everybody who's joined us here. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Diana. Thank you, Lorato. You have told us all how we can get in touch with you. And let me just look at these poll results very quickly. It was a multiple choice question. How did you find this session on personal finance during COVID-19? 90% said they loved it. It was relatable. 47% said they learned something new, which is great. 7% said they would have loved the session to be longer. 43% said the ladies were very knowledgeable about their subject matter. 3% or 1% said it was too long, which is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Can I just add to something there, Christine?
Yes.
There was just a quick one, because there was a question on how can one get into investments, and as well, should people cancel their policies? Please don't cancel your policies. You are going to lose all your money. Don't cancel your policies. You need to visit the whoever is offering you the policy. Find out how they're going to protect your money. Find out if they can give you a holiday as well, and what does that mean if you're not able to. But although I wouldn't advise you to stop paying to it, because that's an investment for you. But if it's really, really tough and there's no income, don't let the money bounce on your bank. Okay, go to them, tell them your situation, to pause them is debiting your account immediately. Don't cancel your policies. You are going to lose your money, all of it that you've actually been investing for the past, I don't know how many years you've been in. And another person was asking how many investments, what can one get into when they want to invest? Inflation-free investment accounts. That is very important. And inflation-free investment accounts are normally not available in banks. They are offered by asset management companies and the insurance companies. Just find out what kind of investments you can get into that are inflation free, that are not going to be affected by this recession, for instance, when you want to get into that, as well as your return on investment. This is what you look at. How much am I going to get back? Your fees, how much are they going to charge you for holding your money? And how do I get my money? How often can I access my money? Those are the things that I would like them to just consider on when they do invest their money as well. Please don't cancel your policies. It's so important. Yeah, that's
Thank
all
you
I
for
wanted
that.
to say.
Thank you for that
Yeah.
important point, Lorato, because I think when times get hard, the first thing we think is, where can I get money?
Yeah.
And you know that your money has been building up at Metropolitan or Old Mutual,
Yeah.
and you want to cancel immediately and get your payout.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Let me just
You're
quickly
welcome.
finish. Thank you, Lorato. And before we close, I just want you to let us know how we can get hold of you for further information. So personal finance outlook, 47% are feeling hopeful, that's good. 23% are feeling optimistic, 27% are feeling creative, which is very important because we did discuss finding alternate streams of income. And 3% say they're still scared. It's natural, it's normal. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Our next session will be on Saturday the 9th. We will have Mr. John Walugembe from Uganda. We will have Mr. Mihe Gaomab from Namibia. He is a former executive director at the African Development Bank. John Walugembe is a consultant. He has 2 consultancies in the UK as well. Please join us. Please check out our Facebook page to find out how you can join those sessions. Diana, Lorato, you've been amazing. This has been so empowering. You know, I think we take for granted the power of information. This is a difficult time, and the more information we have, the better. I want to thank you so much for contributing to the development of Africans. This is what we're trying to do. Could you please just quickly tell us once more how we can get hold of you?
All right. Yeah, you can get hold of me on at Lorato. Email me lorato@sueroconsulting.com. Suero Consulting is SUERO consulting.com. Lorato is LORATO. And then you can follow Suero Consulting Facebook page. That's actually where we have a lot of interviews about policies and stuff. So you can check that out, as well as on Instagram as well. We do have Suero podcasts that actually do podcasts about managing personal finances. Just look for Suero podcast on any podcast platform. We've also started a YouTube channel called Suero TV. So I'm also uploading the videos that I'm shooting with different people that are different experts. So yeah, that's where you can get in touch with us, or just DM us on our social media pages. We will. And then my number, my mobile number, which is also a WhatsApp, it's +267 712 900 70. +267 712 900 70. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorato. Diana, how can we reach you?
Okay, thank you. So my contacts were in the presentation on the last slide, but you can reach me on Phenomenal Women Uganda. We have a website, we have a Facebook page. So if you send a message on the Facebook page, we'll get it. The website is phenomenalwomenglobal.com. And then email is info@phenomenalwomenglobal.com. I can also be reached on phone, particularly WhatsApp. And my number is 256-772-587-187. 256.
Just repeat that, Diana. 7258.
Okay. The country code is 256. And then my phone number is 772-587-187.
Okay. Thank you so much. There was a question that sneaked in just as we're closing. 1 minute, very fast. Last question. Can a person have more than one pension policy?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Even better, even because you will have different. That's a diversification of income right there, because you're gonna have different money coming in when you retire.
Thank you for that, Lorato.
Yeah. Yes.
Ladies, it's been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.